Hello, everybody. This is Kim with Nexa Mortgage. I'm starting the year out with some podcasts this year to help out some local businesses. And today I have with me Stacey Pearson from Stellar Construction. Hello, Stacey.
Hello. Thank you for
And
inviting me.
absolutely. Can you give us a little insight on your business? Like what exactly do you build and when did you get started?
Well, we are pole barn builders. Well, actually, pole barn builders and all the way up to what they call barndominiums. So it's from a basically a garage shop accessory building not attached to your house to all the way a full-blown house, a pole barn structure that you put a living quarters inside.
Nice. Very
We
cool.
started, I think our very first pole barn we ever built was in 1987.
Oh my
And
goodness.
been building ever since then. Not necessarily all pole barns since then. We got into some custom homes and some remodeling, but our general business, is pole barns.
Okay. So your main focus is pole barns and barndominiums right now.
Correct.
Cool. And how would someone find you?
We do a lot of business with referrals because we believe in treating our customers to the point where no matter what happens, when by the time we leave the project, they are happy no matter what. So we get a lot of business via referrals, word of mouth, but we're also online, Stellar Construction. We have a website that you can, you know, open up and put in your preferences for what you want, and it gets sent to us, and we can start the process conversation, I guess, via email, and then, develop the relationship from there.
Cool. So if someone wants something built, they would reach out to you and then you guys just chat about dimensions and stuff like that, or like what does that process look like?
Yeah, I mean, the basic process is, like I said, they can go on the website and just plug in their basic idea, and it gives us a starting point. And then we have a program that we punch everything into, and it designs a 3D replica of the building that they are wanting. It takes me a little bit of time to build that design up for them, but once we have a basic design, it is live. We go back and forth via email, and the customer can make a change, but those changes take me like 10 seconds to make. And as soon as I hit save, then they can pull it up and on their end and look at the project in a 3D mode. They can walk inside, they can turn it around, turn it upside down, and actually see the project instead of trying to. In the past, it was like all visualization and like on paper and trying to visualize what it looks like in their mind. And now it's all 3D, and so they can see it. A lot of people don't really have the ability to visualize a project in their head and make it look like what they envision it. And so this
Mhm.
way, it makes it a lot more seamless in the design process, and the customer gets exactly what they want.
You stole my next question. I was going to ask you how you dealt with changes if someone needed to make them. So I guess when it comes down to it, I have heard a lot of people, unfortunately, I think there are several pole barn builders out there, but I think I've heard a lot about kits. Do you source kits out and then just build them, or what does your business model look like there?
Yeah, that's a great question because I get that question a lot from people, because a lot of people believe that, when they're driving down the road and they see a pole barn, they think that, someone goes to a store and they buy that pole barn, and then they find someone to come build it for them, or they build it themselves. They do exist. They're called, basically what you said, they're called kits. So if you go to a kit company and say, I want this kit, and they send you say a 30 by 40 pole barn with the doors here and the windows here, and that's what you get. There are not really the ability to change it to exactly what you want. And so we do not build as per se what you say a kit. I mean, they're pretty much the same thing, but the homeowner gets to decide where they want the windows, where they want the doors, what size they want. I mean, you're dollar for dollar for the material usage. Having 8-foot increments on your sizes for your width and your length, and then 2-foot increments on your height gets you the best dollar for dollar bang for your buck for the material. But when you buy a kit, you're pretty much confined to those dimensions. Through us, you can make it at any size you want. If you want to make it 60 feet long and 20 feet wide, we can do it. Whatever you need for your specific project, what your needs and desires are for what's going inside the barn, we can do that. It's a custom design, but you still get the kit price, because at the end of the day, the post costs the same no matter where you put it in the ground.
Hmm. Nice. Yeah, I mean, I've heard some horror stories too with people buying kits and then not being able to find somebody to build, or something going wrong during the process, and then who do they go to? I mean, is it the kit producer, or is it the builder? Like, I mean, I can imagine that's a
Yeah,
nightmare.
that's a great question, and a great, good information to let people know that, it's not always a nightmare, and it's not always the best. It's not the best and the worst of the situation. Just so you understand, that is correct. If you buy a kit from a kit company and they deliver the project, some kit companies help you find a builder, some don't. You have to find your own builder. And so you're kind of constrained on that. If there's a problem with the kit, you have to deal with it. If there is a problem with the builder, you have to deal with it. If the builder doesn't agree with what the kit company has designed, and if they build it wrong, you really have no recourse on the kit company. If they sent the product, the error is your problem. Have a nice day. Same thing as if a builder is missing some material, you have to make sure and get that material ordered, get it delivered again. If the builder gets done before that is delivered, you're pretty much waiting on them to come back to finish your barn. Our
Yeah, that kind of
system, yeah,
kind of
our
sounds like a
system
nightmare.
is, yeah, it can be, it depends on it. When you buy your kit, if you completely understand that and you keep in front of the errors yourself, you're basically being your own project manager, and that's how that process works. If you, like you say, if you go through a system like our system, we supply the materials. Our guys that build the barn are our employees. They're ours. And so if it is per se, there's a situation that arises during the build that you're not happy with, something that happened, like a window is put in the wrong spot and it needs to be moved. Uh, if you hired a different builder from the kit process, you're dealing with that builder to maybe come back and fix it, or maybe he decides not. It's that whole project management, era of what your title is actually is. Our
Sure.
system, our guys, our builders. If you don't like where the window is, I tell my guys, move the window. No ifs, ands, or buts. They don't have a choice. And if they say no, I don't want to move it, then they lose their job and they have nothing to build.
Yeah.
The builder that you hired outside of a kit, they're moving on to the next barn. They don't care if you're happy, if you're, just pay the bill and they're gone. Are they going to come back for any warranty work? Are they going to be there for you for the next, for the life of the barn?
Sure. Now, if you ever have, I mean, me being in mortgage industry, if you do you ever run across people who need financing or help with that, or do they typically come to you already knowing, I guess, what they have and how much they can spend?
Oh, that's a great topic to hit, because that is something that comes up quite frequently. People want this addition to their property, and some people, if they don't have the cash to just pay for it, excuse me, a lot of people need to finance the situation of the build. Can they either get a loan for the build, or do they have to get equity out of their house? I have a system set up to where they can get that information right off my website, get in contact with a loan person, and can advise them on the best situation for their project.
Nice. Yeah, I believe that we have you approved, right? With with a top lender for what we call a one-time close product, which is ground up really. So it's purchasing the land, purchasing or doing the construction loan, and then turning it into a permanent with a barn dominium, as well as single family homes. But how was that process? Just so other people out there know who may be looking for something similar to that, builders wise, or people looking to build a new home.
Yeah, that process was just basically turning in paperwork that proves to the lender that we are a capable builder. We have a history, and of course, we have 30 years of history of building these projects. So it's a great resource for a homeowner that wants to have this, have a barn dominium built, let's say, and they need to get a loan, and they go through this lender UWM that's what they do, and part of their process is protecting from my understanding, is protecting the homeowner from a person that says they can build a barn dominium, and they give them the money to build this their dream home, and the builder has no idea what they're doing, and it just goes sideways, and basically you've borrowed say $500,000 to build this barn dominium, and all the money is spent, and you barely have any wood on the ground because the builder has no idea what they're doing.
Right.
And so that's a great system that they put in place to protect the homeowner, to make sure that, hey, if I tell you I can build you this house and you have to get a loan, and that company gives you the money to build the house, that you're gonna get a quality, reputable builder that the percentages of success are greatly increased. That at the end of the day, you'll get the house that you want, for the money that was given to you to build it.
Yeah. Well, and just so you guys know too, like with that process being done with Stellar Construction in particular, that shaves down anywhere from 15 to 30 days on a closing for one of these because he's already approved. So we don't have to go through that process. We just have to get a budget put together with you as the homeowner or the buyer of the new property and start rolling from there, which saves a lot of time. And it does, like he said, protect you because there is some contingencies they roll into the loan, so you're never gonna run out of money, or you shouldn't anyways. It should all be inclusive in that package deal. So it's a great program if you're looking to build a home or a barn dominium of any kind. So I guess my next question would be, what kind of hindrances or issues do you run across in your line of work? Is there any?
Really, the actual build of the barn, they go up pretty quick, and so as long as everything is in order, we don't have like weather delays or just items that come up that shouldn't have came up because you're not coordinating everything correctly, and that's what we do at Stellar. We try to make it as seamless as possible. We want it to go. We don't want the projects to hang around forever, halfway built, because we're waiting for a door that forgot to get ordered. So we want to make that process as seamless and fast as possible. Really, the I'd say the biggest hang up right now for building a barn, a barn dominium, a detached garage, or anything is the actual paperwork that's involved before we even put any wood on the ground. I mean, there is a process and it depends which county, which precinct you live in. It's easier, harder. There's some places that are just more seamless, and there's some places that are just a nightmare. And that is something that we take care of. A lot of, like I say, if you go back to the kit companies, they will send you the product, and they'll send you, like the drawings of what you're supposed to build. Outside of that, it's completely up to you as a homeowner to go to the county and figure out what you need for them to approve the project. And I've heard of nightmares where people have bought kits. Like for instance, this was probably about 10 years ago. We were building a project. It was down in Firestone, and a neighbor came over and said, "This barn you're building is beautiful," and we were about done, and he wanted to look through it, And we showed it to him, and he's like, this is gorgeous. He says, I would like to, could you come over and give me a quote just on labor for a barn that I have bought that I want, your craftsmanship is great. Can you do that? And I said, not a problem. We provide labor for people that buy kits also. We provide, if you want to buy a kit and have us do the permit process, we provide that. It's whatever you need. So I went over and met with him, and he had his kit that was already delivered at his house for his barn, and that's as far as he got. He bought a kit, and I said, all you have to do is show me the drawings that you got, and I can give you a quote. He gives me the drawings. The drawings had actually a stamp right on the front of it from their engineer stating that this barn was not engineered for the winds and the snow loads of Colorado.
Mm.
So he basically bought a paperweight.
Yeah, that's huge.
Yeah, and he was devastated. So to rectify the problem, all the steel is fine. The lumber, the raw lumber was fine, but as far as the trusses and the posts and the dimensions between the trusses, all that stuff had to be engineered for your address. It's not just, you don't just buy a kit from Ohio and expect it to work. It has to be engineered for your address,
Right.
for your zip code, because every zip code is a different snow load and a wind rate.
Yeah, then I'm
And
guessing
so,
you just add to it, or like, is it simple as that, or?
Yeah, we had to get it engineered, and luckily his posts were built strong enough so we could use them, but the trusses were not even close to the snowed and wind rating for Colorado. So all we had to do is replace the trusses and we could build the barn. But
Gotcha.
those are some of the information that you need to know for your project. But if somebody has a kit for sale and you find it online, and it says, $20,000 kit on sale for $5,000, hurry, there's only 4 left. It may not even work for your house.
Yeah, buyer beware.
For your address, so
Yeah.
be really cautious of that.
Yeah, and I think another thing that would probably be good to let viewers know, because I know you and I have worked on a couple of deals now, but I know one of them in particular, and you'll have to remind me if it was Larimer County, or again, maybe it doesn't matter, but if you buy raw land and say there is already an outbuilding of sorts on it, and you're looking to build a house and potentially a pole barn, um, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think you can build a second outbuilding without the house. But you could, in fact, on completely raw land, build a pole barn first and then turn around and buy the house or build the house. Is that accurate?
Different counties are different. I know Larimer County will not let you build a barn on raw land without a house. It used to be a signed affidavit saying that I plan to build a house.
Gotcha.
And then now it's gone to, if you have a house in permitting, like it's waiting to be approved, you can have your barn permit in the process also. And barn permits are a lot easier to get, let's say easier, they're a lot shorter span to get approved than a house permit. And so we have had instances where we have applied for both and gotten the barn permit first, built the barn, and then start the house. But they will not let you build a barn on vacant land without some kind of process engaged to build a house.
Sure.
Weld County I believe they will still let you do it, but you have to sign an affidavit, legal document saying that you are not going to live in it. You're not going to, make it a living quarters, that you plan on building a house. But if you don't, it has to be definitely an ag structure. You cannot add power, water, all the other stuff that'll make it livable.
Sure. No, and that makes sense. And that's why I wanted to bring it to everybody's attention, because that's kind of a big deal when you're not wanting to try to fight for a house that's already built and you just want to build your own. It's good to know these these details, as well as I want to circle back to that one-time close product, because that product doesn't require you, like if you're going to buy land, for example, you got to usually put 20 to 30% down. If you do it all together in this package deal that I have to offer, you maybe, if you're a veteran, are putting 0% down. And that includes the land purchase, or 5% down. It just saves you a lot of money up front. And then you're just paying interest only on the draws for the build and or the down payment. And we get rolling. And once it turns over to a permanent, you just have a regular 30-year mortgage. So it's a great product for barn dominiums, and we can't do the pole barns that way, but barn dominiums and regular builds. But I just wanted to reiterate that a little bit. And so yeah, I mean, is there anything else that you think that anyone out there who may be looking for a pole barn or a barn dominium that they should know about your company, or just in general things to kind of be on the lookout for, or did we kind of cover all of that?
Yeah, I think that's a lot of information to digest. But I could just say, just if you are looking for a barn, just be cautious. There are a lot of, heisters out there that have no idea what they're doing, because barns are really not that hard to build if you have a system in place to keep everything correct. But since they are not that hard, they're also really easy to screw up. And if you put a post in the wrong spot, it can mess up your whole build all the way to the end.
Sure.
And so it's just, do your research, make sure they know what they're doing, and they know how to build. And that being said, just check them out. Make sure they know what they're doing. Make sure they're accredited. Make sure they have a license. Make sure they have insurance. Make sure they have everything in place that protects you, as a homeowner. The other thing I can mention, that there are a lot of misinformations out there with people that because the barndominium is becoming a craze because of what they give you as a homeowner. And there's a lot of builders out there that try to discredit it because it directly affects their ability to build custom homes. A barndominium is basically, it says barndominium because it's built as a post and beam structure. It doesn't mean it's a barn. You can make the outside of a barndominium look any way you want. It can look exactly like your neighbor's house, or you can put vertical steel and make it look like a barn. That being said, the best feature of a barndominium is it is completely engineered free span, which means all the exterior walls hold all the weight of the barn, or of the structure, of your snow load, of your wind load. And you are virtually free to do whatever you want inside. There's no load bearing walls inside. There's no limitations of what you can leave it completely open and just put windows and doors and have your, see your bedroom from your living room from your kitchen. Or you can put in walls and make it look just like a house. You can make it half and half. You can do half of it just like a normal traditional house, and make the living room dining area completely vaulted all the way to the ceiling and make it a big open room. So your limitations on your design is up to your imagination, and there's nothing that can stop. It's an amazing concept, and it's getting crazy how many people are like, wow, this is so cool.
Yeah. Well, I know I've seen several of them. They were pretty awesome. But we're running out of time here, so I want people to be able to find you. Do you want to let them know a phone number and a website that they can go check you out at?
Yeah, you can contact us. Our company phone is 720-822-2936, or you can just hit us up on the website. It's stellarconstruction.org. And like I said, on our website, you can key in as little or as much information as you want on the contact page, and then you'll be getting I'm sure unless you give me exactly explicit details and exactly what you want, you'll get a quote right away. But we'll probably start the process with communication back and forth via phone call or email, and get your project design exactly how you want. And that whole process is free. You get a complete design 3D picture model of your project for no charge.
Cool. Well, Stacey, thank you so much for being on here. I'll put his information below in the video details or description as well. Again, this is Kim Mashek with Nexa Mortgage. My website is mashmortgagepros.com. And my number is 308-249-6441. And as Stacey said, his initial stuff is all free. My consults are as well. So reach out to, well, both of us when you have a need, and we'd love to help you out. I guess we'll see you on the next video. And Stacey, you have a wonderful day.
And thank you so much for having me.
No, thank you for coming. I appreciate it.
All right.
Bye.